Act 3. The Great War of the Gods. Chapter 9. The First Fissure. For thousands of eons, the cosmos existed in a state of tense equilibrium. At its center lay the great wall of order, created by the four symbols. This was not a physical barrier, O listener. It was a wall of will. The East, Azure Dragon, continuously created new light, pushing back chaos. The South, Vermilion Bird, continuously purified the turbid Qi, incinerating it. The West, White Tiger, continuously judged, cleaving the tendrils of chaos that dared to reach out. The North, Black Tortoise, stood firm as an indestructible shield, absorbing all direct attacks. It was a perfect symphony. The four sacred beasts worked in harmony, creating the sanctum for the elder gods and nascent life to flourish. But, O listener, a symphony, no matter how perfect, has pauses between the notes. And chaos found those pauses. We must delve into this tragedy. What was the weakness of order? It was the transition. When winter, Black Tortoise, ended and spring, Azure Dragon, began, there was a moment. A brief, fragile moment, when the great shield of the Black Tortoise had just been lowered, and the creative thunder of the Azure Dragon had not yet sounded. It was the moment of dawn, the weakest moment. And chaos, though lacking intellect, had instinct. It sensed the shift in rhythm. But more importantly, O listener, chaos had an informer. It had an outcast. Qiongqi, the exiled winged tiger. The only one among the four fierce beasts, who had once lived inside order. He knew about those pauses. He knew about the moment of transition. And he, in his endless malice, did not miss the opportunity. While Taotie, hunger, and Hundun, mindlessness, were aimlessly drifting, Qiongqi flew in. He flew to the boundary between the north and the east. He waited. He sensed the endurance energy of the Black Tortoise waning, preparing for a brief slumber. He sensed the creative energy of the Azure Dragon still asleep, preparing to awaken. Now, he roared. But Qiongqi did not attack alone. He was malicious, not brute force. He needed a hammer. He called Taowu. Taowu, the obstinate one, the monster of stagnation. He did not understand strategy. He only understood charge. Charge there. Qiongqi commanded, pointing to a vague spot in the energy wall. Charge the weakness of the one who betrayed us. Taowu roared. He hated the change of spring. He hated the Azure Dragon. He lowered his head and focused the entire strength of a fanatic elder god into the very seam between winter and spring. Crash hey! A sound unprecedented in the universe rang out. The wall of order, for the first time, cracked. It was not a large hole, only a small fissure. But it was enough. Qiongqi let out a ghastly laugh, the laugh of successful vengeance. "O hungry one," he called Taotie, "your feast is ready." Taotie, who had only been consuming the turbid Qi, suddenly smelled something new. Sweet. Brilliant. It smelled life. It smelled order. Its great mouth roared with craving, and it lunged toward the fissure. "And you, O mindlessness," Qiongqi called Hundun, "the realm of consciousness awaits your erasure." The four fierce beasts. The four plagues. They were no longer at the fringes. Like a black flood of turbid Qi, they poured in. The first fissure was opened. They had breached the sanctum. They had set foot in the domain of the four symbols. And instantly, in the north, the Black Tortoise, who was in meditative slumber, opened his eyes. His shield trembled. And in the east, the Azure Dragon, who was stretching, roared. Not the roar of creation, but the roar of wrath. The universe was no longer at peace. O listener, the myth weaver complies. We have left Act 3 at a horrifying moment. The fissure of order has been torn open. The four fierce beasts, the four primordial plagues, have flooded into the sanctum. The furious roar of the Azure Dragon, east, and the abrupt awakening of the Black Tortoise, north, have sounded. The Great War has officially begun. Our epic continues. Chapter 10. The Shield and the Black Hole. The moment the fissure was torn open, the four fierce beasts lunged in. Qiongqi, Malice, and Taowu, Stagnation, charged toward the brightest light. They charged toward the Azure Dragon, the king of spring. Taotie, Hunger, scented the thousands of elder gods and nascent souls at the center of the cosmos, and began to charge toward that location, intending to swallow everything. But one remained. Hundun, the formless tumor of the universe. It was not drawn by life, like Taotie. It was not drawn by justice, like Qiongqi. No, it was drawn by the one thing it hated most, consciousness. And in this universe, no consciousness was older, grander, or heavier than Xuan Wu, the mysterious warrior. Xuan Wu, the protector of the North. He is the sage. On his magnificent shell, O listener, is the map of the universe. Every physical law, every star, every flow of order, is inscribed there. He is not just knowledgeable about order. He is the library of order. And Hundun, the enemy of wisdom, the entity that wanted the universe to forget, sensed that library. While the other three fierce beasts roared, Hundun, the colossal, sightless, earless wineskin of flesh, only quietly, drifted. It drifted toward the north. It drifted toward Xuan Wu. And here, O listener, is the most tragic confrontation. It was not a battle of claws. It was a battle of concepts. Xuan Wu, from within his eternal winter, opened his eyes. His gaze was that of a sage, profound, without a trace of fear. The divine serpent coiled around him hissed, not in anger, but in supreme vigilance. He is the shield. He did not move. He waited. Hundun drifted close. That mindless tumor did not attack. It had no claws to attack with. It began to do the one thing it was born to do. It began to erase. It pressed close to Xuan Wu, and as its shadow enveloped the magnificent shell, the horror began. The stars inscribed on Xuan Wu's shell began to fade. The universal laws recorded there began to destabilize. Hundun was eating wisdom. It was using its mindlessness to deconstruct understanding. It was trying to drag Xuan Wu, to drag the cosmic library, back to a primal state of emptiness. The very air around Xuan Wu began to be forgotten. Space began to warp. Hundun was telling Xuan Wu, "You do not exist. Your knowledge does not exist. Your order is a lie." Xuan Wu, for the first time, felt the weight. How could he fight something that did not exist? How could he use wisdom to defeat mindlessness, when mindlessness refused to listen to wisdom? The divine serpent hissed. It lunged, attempting to bite into Hundun's flesh. But its teeth passed through. Hundun is a concept. It is not pure matter. Hundun was winning. It was erasing the protector of the north. And just as Xuan Wu's shell was about to be completely erased, the sage acted. Xuan Wu realized he could not destroy Hundun. Mindlessness is a part of the cosmos, just as wisdom is. He could not destroy it. But he could contain it. Xuan Wu did the unthinkable. Instead of pushing Hundun out, he pulled it in. With a mighty will, he was no longer the shield. He turned himself into a prison. The colossal divine tortoise began to spin. It created a vortex of primal water energy. This current was not for attack, but for imprisonment. The divine serpent, the embodiment of wisdom, stopped biting. It coiled around Hundun. It used its very logic and order to weave a conscious cage around the mindlessness. "If you are a black hole," Xuan Wu roared in his mind, "then I will be the event horizon. You will never escape." Hundun roared, for the first time. It realized it had been tricked. It drifted in to eat wisdom, but now it was trapped by wisdom itself. It tried to erase the cage, but the cage was constantly regenerated by Xuan Wu's wisdom. Xuan Wu tried to crush Hundun, but he could not. Mindlessness is infinite. And so, O listener, a tragic stalemate ensued. The first battle had the first result. Xuan Wu, the great protector of the north, had won. But he had also lost. He succeeded in neutralizing the most dangerous fierce beast. He contained Hundun. But the price was that he was also contained. Xuan Wu, the sage, now had to dedicate 100% of his consciousness just to maintaining the prison. He could not move. He could not join the war. He could not aid the 3 other sacred beasts. One pillar of order was neutralized. Chaos sacrificed 1 fierce beast to eliminate 1 sacred beast. The war continues. Xuan Wu, the immovable shield of the north, has been locked in stasis. He defeated Hundun, mindlessness, by becoming its eternal prison, but the cost was his neutralization from the war. 1 pillar of order has fallen. And the fissure created by Qiongqi, Malice, and Taowu, Stagnation, is now wide open. The 3 remaining fierce beasts, Hunger, Taotie, Malice, Qiongqi, and Stagnation, Taowu, are free, for the first time, to breathe the brilliant air of the sanctum. They stand right at the boundary between winter, north, and spring, east. And the protector of spring, the king of the 4 symbols, has seen them. Our epic continues. Chapter 11. The Wrath of Spring. The Azure Dragon had witnessed everything. He had seen Qiongqi and Taowu smash into the wall. He had sensed the sudden silence of the black tortoise. Not the silence of meditation, but the silence of a desperate battle. The King of Order, the protector of spring, for the first time in his eternal existence, felt wrath. O listener, we must dive deep into this wrath. It is not like the fury of Go in the Hong myth, which was born from betrayal. It is not like the malice of Qiongqi, which was born from jealousy. The Azure Dragon's wrath is the wrath of creation. It is the fury of an artist seeing his masterpiece torn apart. It is the fury of a gardener seeing his garden trampled. He is the embodiment of wood, of life. These 3 fierce beasts are the embodiment of death, sickness, and destruction. This is not a battle. This is a purge. Chaos. The Azure Dragon's roar was no longer the thunder of spring bringing rain. It was the lightning of the high heavens, the roar of judgment. His body, originally the jade-green color of jade, now flared with light. His scales were no longer stars. They were blades forged from primal wood energy. His whiskers were cosmic lightning bolts, hissing in anger. The wise king had become a war machine. He did not wait. He is spring, he is movement. He surged forward, a streak of azure light, swift as thought, blocking the path of the 3 fierce beasts. The confrontation was 1 against 3. The King of Order faced the 3 darkest instincts. And the first attacker was Taowu, the stagnant one, the elder god of stone. He hated spring. He hated the change the Azure Dragon represented. He had no strategy. He just roared, lowered his stubborn head, and used the full force of his obstinacy, charging straight at the Azure Dragon, intending to shatter the king. But the Azure Dragon is not a wall. He is wood. He is flexibility. Instead of meeting the charge head-on, the Azure Dragon roared. From the void, thousands upon thousands of gigantic divine wood trees, hard as diamond, sprouted from space, forming a shield forest. Crash, crash, crash. Taowu broke through the first layer of shields. He broke the second layer. He is stagnation. He does not know exhaustion. But the Azure Dragon is creation. He created the shields, faster than Taowu could destroy them. For every tree broken, 2 more grew. Taowu, the obstinate one, was halted. He was contained within a forest of endless creation. But while the Azure Dragon focused on Taowu, the outcast acted. Qiongqi, Malice, the winged tiger, let out a terrifying laugh. He did not attack the shield. He is a torturer. He soared up, bypassing the forest, and lunged straight for the Azure Dragon's essence. He did not aim for the mighty body. He aimed for the eyes. He aimed for where the dragon's whiskers connected to the jaw. He aimed for the weak points, the places that inflicted the most pain. "You are nothing but a hypocrite," he roared, raising the poisonous claws of chaos. "And you," the Azure Dragon roared back without fear, "are merely a failure." The King of Spring used wood no more. He used lightning. He opened his mouth, and a roar of pure thunder, a cosmic lightning bolt, shot straight at Qiongqi. Qiongqi was fast. But lightning is faster. The bolt struck Qiongqi's wings. The malicious tiger shrieked in pain, scorched, and fell from the air. The Azure Dragon had neutralized two fierce beasts in mere seconds. Using wood, flexibility, to block the obstinate one. Using lightning, speed, to punish the malicious one. Such was the power of the King of Order. He turned, ready to finish Taowu. And that is when the tragedy struck. A third fierce beast, which he had almost forgotten, had taken its position. Taotie, hunger. He, the great mouth, had not attacked the Azure Dragon. He had not attacked Qiongqi. He only ate. When the Azure Dragon created the divine wood forest to block Taowu, Taotie charged in. He did not break the forest. He ate the forest. The divine wood trees, brimming with the creative energy of spring, vanished into his bottomless gullet. When the Azure Dragon struck Qiongqi with lightning, Taotie opened his mouth. He was not struck by the lightning. He swallowed the residual lightning energy. And now, when the Azure Dragon turned back, he saw a terrifying sight. Taotie, having consumed two of Order's great attacks, was larger. His body expanded. His hunger roared in satisfaction. He had tasted Order, and he liked it. O listener, the myth weaver must pause here to delve into this tragedy. This was Order's first tactical failure. What is the Azure Dragon's greatest power? Creation. And what is Taotie's greatest weapon? Consumption. The Azure Dragon could not fight Taotie. Anything he created to attack, Taotie would eat it. If he created a sword of wood, the beast would eat the sword. If he created a storm of lightning, the beast would swallow the storm. The Azure Dragon, the King of Order, the great creator, was feeding his enemy. The harder he fought, the more satiated and powerful Taotie became. But if he did not fight, Qiongqi, now recovering, and Taowu, still charging, would tear him apart. The king was trapped. Taotie roared, a howl of craving. He no longer consumed residual energy. Now, he charged straight at the Azure Dragon. He wanted to eat the king himself. He wanted to swallow the very source of spring. The Azure Dragon, for the first time, had to retreat. The King of Order was running for his life. The black tortoise, north, has been neutralized, turning himself into a prison for Hundun. The Azure Dragon, east, the Creator King, is being overwhelmed, his power rendered useless, turned into food for Taotie, hunger. Pursued by all three fierce beasts, Order is on the brink of collapse. The universe held its breath. The sanctum was being ravaged. But, O listener, the four symbols have four pillars. And this war was too loud. It had awakened the two remaining protectors. Our epic continues. Chapter 12, The Sword and the Song. In the west, where autumn reigned, the white tiger was in meditation. He is the general, the judge. He does not perceive the cosmos with a soul, like the vermilion bird. He perceives the cosmos with the law. And suddenly, the law was broken. He sensed the unnatural silence of the black tortoise. It was not the stillness of wisdom. It was the stagnation of order. And then, he felt it. The King of the East, the Azure Dragon, was retreating. O listener, we must dive into the white tiger's psychology. To a general, a king retreating is unacceptable. It is an error in the system. It is chaos. And the white tiger exists to correct errors. Simultaneously, in the south, where eternal summer reigned, the vermilion bird was singing. She is the high priestess, she is hope. She perceives the cosmos with life. And suddenly, her song became discordant. She heard it. Not the roar of the fierce beasts, but the shriek of tens of thousands of nascent souls, lesser elder gods, and spirits of life, being erased. Taotie was swallowing them. Qiongqi was torturing them. Taowu was trampling them. Most importantly, O listener, they were dying, without rebirth. The destruction of chaos was a permanent destruction. It was a black mark, an absolute negation of her fire of hope. Her very nature was under attack. The two protectors realized. The universe did not need a cry for help. The two sacred beasts did not need a command. In the west, the white tiger's eyes snapped open. They were not white. They were the cold, brilliant silver of metal, precise, and utterly unforgiving. He did not roar. He simply vanished. He moved with the speed of justice. Quick as a clean cut. A streak of silvery metal, tearing across the universe, flying straight toward the fissure. In the south, the vermilion bird's song stopped. The eternal flames on her body, originally vermilion red, now flared into a blinding white blue, the hottest fire, the fire of purification. She did not fly. She became a comet of hope and wrath. And then, they arrived. Back at the battleground in the east. The Azure Dragon was exhausted. He continuously created lightning shields, but Taotie simply gulped them down. Taowu kept charging, and Qiongqi, like a sick vulture, circled, searching for an opportunity to strike his eyes. The king was about to lose. It is time to end this feast. Taotie roared, opening its black hole mouth, preparing for the final swallow. And in that very moment, clang! A sound sharp enough to shatter the universe echoed. A streak of silvery white metal, too fast to see, slammed into Qiongqi. The white tiger had arrived. The general spoke no word. He landed, standing between the Azure Dragon and Qiongqi. His claws, sharper than justice itself, were plunged deep into Qiongqi's shoulder. The malicious tiger roared, not in pain, but in astonishment. And then, it saw its attacker. By who? Qiongqi hissed, his voice filled with the hatred of the outcast. The hypocrite! The betrayer! The white tiger roared back, his voice cold as autumn. Today, your sentence is executed. The two generals, one of order, one of chaos, were locked in combat. But Taowu and Taotie did not care. They only saw a target, Azure Dragon, and an obstacle, white tiger. They charged together. And then, whoosh! A wall of fire, miles high, hotter than the heart of the sun, descended from the heavens, bisecting the battlefield. The crimson comet had arrived. The vermilion bird landed, as lightly as a leaf, but the heat radiating from her made even Taowu's stone body briefly melt. She stood between the Azure Dragon and Taowu. She did not look at Taotie. She stared straight at the stagnant one. Obstinate one, her song rang out, no longer melodious, but blazing. You are the embodiment of immutability. I am the embodiment of transformation. Taowu roared. He hated this fire. He hated this change. He charged straight into the wall of fire. And just like that, O listener, the tide of the battle had turned. The three fierce beasts pursuing the Azure Dragon were now stalled. The white tiger, Justice, had lunged into Qiongqi, Malice. The vermilion bird, Rebirth, had blocked Taowu, Stagnation. The 1-against-3 battle had become 3 individual duels. And the Azure Dragon, the king of spring, was free for the first time. He let out a breath of thunder. He looked at his two companions, giving a nod. And then, he turned back. He looked straight at the last fierce beast. The only one left. The great mouth roaring in anger at the interruption of his meal. Taotie, the king of creation, facing the destroyer of creation. The real battle has just begun.